Hello from snowy North Dakota. We have about 5-6 inches right now. It's actually kind of beautiful, but not for the middle of October. It's way too soon. So I'm gonna make some delicious chicken and dumpling soup. I say delicious a lot. Apparently I think a lot of things are delicious, but I love homemade food. So we're gonna go ahead and review the recipe. We will do a quick run through like I like to do, a 60-90 second summary of how to make the chicken and dumpling soup. But then after that, we will have the entire recipe if you wanna watch it. So stay tuned. And dumplings are great, they're easy to make. If you want to just put noodles in at that point, you are sure welcome to. It works both ways. Okay, here's all my ingredients for my chicken and dumpling soup. I have these, I really like these ones from Costco. They're individually wrapped chicken breasts, so they don't stick together and stuff. I really like those. I usually use 3 because they're a little smaller. You can use 2 of the really big ones if you get the ones from Sam's that are in that big package. Carrots, I just use these baby carrots. I still have some in my garden, but I have to go get them. Here, I will show you what it currently looks like outside. I do not want to go out to my garden, but I am actually going to go out and get my beets today and deal with those as well. So that'll be a separate video, is making pickled beets. But yeah, I'm going to have to brave that eventually. So let's go back. Here is our ingredients. So here's my recipes. I realized when I went to make this video that I did not have written down my chicken soup recipe. So I quick wrote it down right here. The only thing I had ever had written down was my dumpling recipe. You can see it's a well-worn card. So the chicken soup recipe, I have several different spices in there. You can spice it up however you like. These are just the ones I like to use. And then the dumplings are very simple. It's just flour, eggs, milk, and a little bit of salt. And you'll see the consistency. It ends up just slightly thicker than like waffle batter. All right, so we have our ingredients. Got our variety, got oregano, celery, salt, garlic. I've got my chicken bouillon, that's really important. If you wanna use, I have water and chicken bouillon, the mix. If you wanna use chicken broth, you're sure welcome to use that. That works fine too. Seasoned salt, this is actually sweet paprika. There's a difference between sweet Hungarian paprika and smoky paprika. That one's more spicy and smoky. I like the sweet, that's the one I prefer to use. And then my basil, this is from 2 years ago, but I dry my basil and keep it, so I'm gonna use that. My onions from my garden, and I like the baby carrots. I just toss them in that size. Sometimes I chop them up, sometimes I leave them that size. Just depends on how lazy I'm feeling. And of course my celery. So I'm going to go ahead and dice all this yummy stuff up and show you how to cook it up. So I had to laugh at myself. You saw I had my pretty thing of celery here that I had for my ingredient list, but actually I have another package of celery that has to be used up, and so I yanked this pathetic guy out, and I was gonna see if there's anything rescuable out of this one, and it's, yeah, there's a couple pieces here on the inside that are still pretty good, but this is stuff people don't show you. I got crap like this in my fridge. I had this stuck underneath a couple of packages of carrots, and then when I bought a new one, and then I went to pull the celery out to make my soup. I was like, ew, what is this gross stuff in here? So I will find what's good out of this one, and then I'll dive into the little nicer one to salvage what celery I can for the soup. So when I got into my new newer head of celery. And look how much of it I actually had to chop off. There was a bunch of it that was bad on here. It's so frustrating how fast these vegetables go bad. I just get kind of mad. So I'm just hacking it up into rough chunks that are approximately all the same size. I'm gonna do my onion that same size. And do not, like the little leaves on the celery, sometimes I cut them off, sometimes I leave them if I feel like messing with them. They don't hurt a thing, they taste fine, they taste like everything else in the celery. I'm just here cutting up the chicken, and my eyes are still watering from cutting up the onion. It's all so sad. If you want to use something other than white meat, you sure can. I just happen to have it for this time. It's usually what I have in my freezer. A lot of times when I get like the rotisserie chickens from like Walmart, I will take the leftovers and take it off the bone and use that for soup. That makes great soup. I just love it. All right, I'm gonna put my 1 tablespoon of olive oil in here. I didn't have this on the counter for my ingredient stuff, but it's very important. And then whenever you're making soup, you always want to salt every single step of it. So it doesn't need a lot of salt in this part, but we're just going to salt it up a little bit just to make sure we have that flavor in our cooking meat and vegetables. And we're just going to cook all this together. This right here is my very, very, very favorite spoon. If anybody touches it, they die. It is both a spatula and a cooking spoon. I love it. So we're going to turn this on and we're going to brown this up.
What are you whining about?
Oreo, where are you?
I'm right here.
Is he telling you a story?
A little bit.
He wants to go out in the snow.
No, he's whining about food.
So I had to laugh at myself. I moved my pot over to this burner so it would be closer to the camera when I was recording. And you can see the pot. This is not my favorite burner. This is my favorite burner. And it's making me very sad to cook on this burner. That's sad, but I think a lot of people have that. They have their favorite burner. It heats up just right. So I've got this stuff cooking. The chicken is still a little pink on the inside. So everything's starting to cook. See, you got everything kind of cooking in there. I'm going to throw in the carrots now. The chicken does not have to be cooked all the way through to throw in the carrots. And I'm just going to throw them in whole. I'm not even going to cut them because I love those big carrot pieces. I'm a huge carrot fan. I'm going to put a lot of carrots in my soup because I love carrots. So I put most of that bag in there. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to leave those in there. And I'm going to cover it up a little bit. And we're going to kind of steam them actually a little bit. I'm going to steam these carrots. So I'm going to take a lid and I'm going to cover these bad boys up. Kind of the right lid. Close enough. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting my spices ready. I have my rosemary from my garden. My recipe I have for a half of a teaspoon. That's if you have ground. I just use very little of the, if you have fresh rosemary too, you don't want very much. Rosemary is a very strong flavor. The basil, I'm just going to, I have a tablespoon on here, so I like basil a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and this is just what I had in my garden. You guys can use the, like my oregano. My oregano is just store-bought oregano. I just didn't have any of this last year. So I got that all ready. And I'm actually going to put my oregano in here. Oh, I'm almost out. I'll just put all that in there just so I got to put this on my grocery list. Put that over there. All right, I can start putting stuff away. I like to start putting stuff away here so I can clear things out. Okay, I think we're good. We're just going to go ahead and let that steam a little bit. I got all my spices all ready. All right, patience. We have to wait. So the soup's been cooking just a little bit while. The carrots are half cooked. So we're going to go ahead and add our chicken broth or the combination of water and chicken bouillon. This is the part, if you want more liquid in there, You can add more water and more bouillon. So for every cup, I believe they tell you to add like a teaspoon. I usually add a little bit more than that. But for every cup of water, you add a teaspoon of chicken bouillon. I probably add closer to a tablespoon because that's kind of one of my salty components. But if you want more broth in there, add more chicken bouillon and water or chicken broth, because I'm going to do a double recipe of dumplings. My family adores dumplings, and one batch is never enough. They just scoop all the dumplings out and I have all this soup left. So I'm going to actually be doing a double batch of dumplings. So first let's dump all of our spices in our liquid. I have 4 cups here. So let's put that in for now. I'm going to do my garlic. Again, I put a tablespoon in there. I love garlic. I might put a little bit more in here. I tried to do the recipe so it would be kind of universal. And I apologize for not measuring. There is measurements on the recipe on the bottom. I suck at it, so I'm going to, this is my celery salt, which, did I even have on here? I do, a teaspoon, so that's about right. A teaspoon of seasoned salt. I like lots of sweet paprika. It's one of my favorite flavors in my soup. And then my bouillon. So on here I have about eight tablespoons. That's about a quarter of a cup is what I do. See, I told you I didn't even have a recipe for this. I had to write it down. So usually when I make it, I do like half a lid. So I'm sorry. That's what I tell everybody when I have to write down a recipe. So I'm making a video so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm gonna dump in all my spices. All right. I'm gonna stir this up. I still have to go get another 4 or 6 cups of water. So I'll go do that and dump it in. Then I'm gonna show you how to make the dumplings. So I went ahead and I tasted my soup. I had my pot, it was a little small. I should have used my big pot. And so I had 9 cups of water, and it was a tiny bit salty, so I added another cup. I changed the recipe. Like I said, I had written it down to 4 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, about that little less than half a lid full if you have a big one, but 4 tablespoons or 4 cubes. I believe a cube is a tablespoon. I don't remember. I don't use cubes very often. But so yeah, it's you just gotta taste it. You gotta taste it. If it's too salty, you add a little more water. All right, I'm gonna make the dumplings, and it's the recipe from my mother-in-law. It is very inexact in the way I make it. I have these beautiful eggs. One of the gals that works with me, her sister-in-law has chickens, and we get fresh eggs every Friday, which is amazing. I love it. So I'm gonna make a double batch. So it says 2 eggs. I'm gonna do 4. Okay. And then for every 2 eggs, you do a half a cup of milk. So really what it is it's equal parts egg and milk. And so I need a cup of milk because I'm making a double batch. So 4 eggs, a cup of milk, salt. It ends up being about a quarter of a teaspoon, so I'm gonna put about a half a teaspoon for a double batch. And then this is the interesting part, is just flour to thicken. That is what my recipe says. That is how my mother-in-law taught me. You see, I'm not, it's not that big of a deal. I just kind of stab my yolks, kind of mix them up a little bit. I'm getting it all over the counter. I'm so good at that. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna actually show you how I mix in the flour, because I want you to see what it looks like. It doesn't have to be beautiful. The longer it sits, it kind of mellows out, and you want it to get a little bit sticky. So that's why I'm making it ahead of time while that soup is cooking. So this is my milk and egg and salt. And so I'm just going to start with a cup. And I can see it's not enough, so I'm going to throw in 2 cups. And I'm just going to mix it. And I make these a lot, so and they're not the prettiest thing when you're first starting. Oh, look at how yellow this is from those fresh eggs. It's so beautiful. And you just keep stirring it up, and you can see it's really lumpy and chunky. That's fine. See how it's really liquidy yet? Just kind of keep stirring it. I can see it's too thin. That's more like pancake batter. We want a little closer to waffle batter. So I'd put another 1/4 cup in or so. So I'm up to about, I don't know, 2.5 cups or so. See how it's getting kind of thick like that? That's what we want. We want it to look just kind of thick like that. So it's not, it's just a little bit stiff. See how it's making these, it kind of pulls away from the side a little bit. That is exactly what we want. Oh, my bowl is spinning. There we go. I had to put you guys back up there. My bowl was spinning too much. So you just need to keep stirring up. It's a lot like waffle or pancake batter. You just kind of scrape the sides, stir it up. You don't have to get all the lumps out. Just kind of smooth is good enough. After it sits, those lumps break up. And just use a fork. There you go. There, see? Kind of has a thick, but not too thick. So that is perfect consistency for my dumplings. All right, I'm gonna clean up my mess here. Try to clean up along the way. Not great at it. So we're ready to make our dumplings. What I did was I made sure that the carrots, that I could just press through them with my spoon. That tells me that everything else in there is ready and the carrots are cooked enough to add our dumplings. I'm gonna do big dumplings. There's also something called spetzel, which is made with the exact same recipe for the dumplings. Sometimes I'll thin it down, I'll add a little bit of milk. Thank you for setting the table, sweetheart. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of extra milk to make it thinner. This is a spetzel maker, and it's really simple to use. You would just sit it on top of your pot, and you would take spoonfuls of this stuff and put it in here, and you'd go back and forth. And what it does is it drops little tiny dumplings into there. It's a very German type of thing to have in the soup. I'm going to do large dumplings though, but I do sometimes make spetzel, which is very good. So, out of my way. Oh, it's busy here, can't you tell? Okay, so what I always do is I take my spoon and I actually stir it around in my hot pot so the spoon is hot. That'll help the dumpling mix not stick to it. And I'm going to actually grab you so I can show you guys exactly how I'm doing this. All right, so we have our dumpling mix and our soup. Get my spoon good and hot. Ooh, I do not have very much room in this pot. This is going to be a very full pot. And so what you do is you take it and you just get a little scoop. You can make any size dumplings. I like smaller ones. And you just kind of, there, and it fell off. Go back, scoop it up, wiggle it off. Go back, scoop it up, wiggle it off. And that's it. That's why some people like to make this spetzel, because it's easy. You just dump it in that little thing. So I've got all of my dumplings in there. Word of advice, always immediately rinse out that bowl with the dumpling mix. It will turn into concrete faster than you can blink. So this makes me laugh because of course I was making a nice video about how to make chicken and dumpling soup and my dumplings fell apart. It will still be yummy, but I usually have nice big dumplings. See these guys? See how nice and big these are? They're usually like this, like a nice big solid dumpling. For some reason they started falling apart. I don't know why. Sometimes it happens. I don't care. It's still going to be good. You can see I have this giant pot of yumminess for lunch. And you can see I went way overboard on how much I made. It is a giant pot full, but we will be enjoying it for days. And you can even freeze it. I can freeze it super easy. It'll be great defrosted. All right, thanks for joining me for making chicken and dumpling soup. It kind of turned into something a little bit different than chicken and dumpling. I actually ended up with spetzel. Who would have thunk? I didn't even use a spetzel maker. I just showed it to you. I think the idea was in its head. But this is what we're gonna have for lunch. And I think you guys should all try it because it's easy and everybody loves it. It's one of the favorite things that people really like and they want to learn how to make when they come over to my house. It's a snow day here and that's why I'm making chicken and dumpling soup. Comfort food all the way around. See you guys later.